Where I stand at once stood the site of Fort Shannon, which was established in May 1838. And this fort was one of the major quartermaster depots in Florida during the Second Seminole War. It operated under General William J. Worth until he assumed command of the armies in Florida. Military facilities included a hospital, barracks, blockhouses, and stables for more than 400 horses. During the fort's existence, Palatka was military in appearance and under military control. Fort Shannon. Let's go. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another vlog. This is your boy P9, and I am in the city of Palatka, Florida. I'm about to walk around the downtown area and also explore the riverfront area of this beautiful city. So let's go for it, shall we? Now, Palatka, Florida is a city that's the seat of Putnam County in Florida. It is home to over 10,000 residents, so close to 11,000 residents live in Palatka, and the micropolitan statistical area population for Palatka is 72,000. So it's a really nice little city we're going to check out. And right here is a mural of Senator B.C. Pierce. So this is Bill C. Pierce agricultural mural, as you can see right here. And this is sponsored by the Conley Mural Committee and Nancy Pierce Johnson. So I believe this was done by Wendy Beeson in 2003. So it's really nice mural of Senator Bill Pierce, who also had a highway dedicated to him in 1957. So he was very strong on agricultural, the agricultural life, as you can see. It's illustrated right here. These look like, I want to say these are like potatoes, but this is him on the farm machinery, agricultural machinery. So yeah, Bill Pierce. It's a mural of him. Shout out to Wendy Beeson for this nice mural. So this is St. John's Avenue, which is where I start this vlog, which is part of the downtown district of Palatka. So it's going to be a lot of neat shops and restaurants and everything like that. Also a few murals as well. So we also have this mural right here. It's called Annie Oakley, which was painted by Nina and Ed Matayunis, a married couple from Palatka. This was painted back in June of 2012, sponsored by the city of Palatka and the Friends of the Conley Snyder Mural Committee. So yeah, this is just basically, and then they also have it to where you can scan your QR code for a full narrative about each mural. So I think that's really neat that they actually have it to where they tell the story of the mural through an illustration via QR scan and whatnot. So, but yeah, this is Palatka, Florida. Looks like 1908. And you can see right here, it's a painting of Annie Oakley. Now, I'm not too familiar with Annie Oakley. Looks like she, it seems like she has this this rifle right here on it, and she's mounted on this horse. But she was, I did a quick Google search. She was actually a sharpshooter who was part of the Wild Wild West, starting the Buffalo Bills Wild Wild West. So this is her commemorated on this mural. And you also have what looks like a bunch of cowboys on mounted on horses and whatnot. And again, this is done by Ed and Nina Mata-Yunis in 2012. Really nice mural of Annie Oakley. So Annie Oakley is a sharpshooter. And you also see some steamboats. So this looks like Palatka back in the day, back in the late 19th century. As you can see, horses in the carriage. And yeah, the boats, the ships, buildings, small little town buildings, palm trees, of course, right here. It's a really nice mural, very creative and illustrative. Yeah, Palatka is located on the St. Johns River, so it's not that far from Jacksonville. It's actually part of the greater Jacksonville, Kingsland, Palatka, Florida, Georgia combined statistical area. So it's basically like a outlying community of the greater Jacksonville area. See right here, they have this local thrift store, simply called The Shop. Let me go over here real quick. I see another mural I'm gonna check out. Now this mural was painted in 2007 by Terry Smith. It's called Cattle Drive to Payne's Prairie, sponsored by the W.F. Tilton family and Cattlemen Circle 1930. Shout out to Jerry Smith and the Tilton family. It's just basically illustrating a cattle drive. And this is right alongside the St. Johns River. As you can see right there. There goes a lady right there mounted on the horse. And you can see all the cattle being driven across the river. So it's livestock. It's really nice. It almost feels as if you're right there on the river. It's really nicely illustrated, nicely painted by Terry Brown. Nice color schemes, you know, the green and the blue. You can even see the reflection of the trees on the water. I think that's really dope. And of course you got the steamboats right there. One of them says "We Locka," and the other one says "The City of Jacksonville." So both of those are located on the St. Johns River. So really dope mural right here. As I get ready to continue down St. Johns Avenue, right here on St. Johns Avenue. Bunch of nice mom and pop shops over here across the street from a Pizza Boys restaurant. Looks like some really nice family owned, locally owned establishments right here. Putnam Democratic Party.
The normal guy thing is to take this and just stick an impact on it. Which is what I would have done.
Nice Mustang right there. Getting ready to, we're right over here by a Dairy Queen. And it's so many murals. Goes another mural right here of the railroad. It's really nice. Let's go over here. Because it looks like this is a mural right here of a lot of historical and prominent, successful black residents or black natives of Palatka. It's a really nice mural. We have Dr. James Long at the top left-hand corner, Dr. Grover Collins, Nurse Cora Blossom, Dr. Larry Hibble, Dr. Gerganish. I don't know if I pronounced that right. You have Nurse Rochelle Dumas right here, Dr. Joseph Shelley, and Dr. Zanny Brantley. And by the way, the name of this is called the Mary Lawson Hospital. Artist was Monique Sinclair, assisted by Barry Barker in 2010. Shout out to them. So Monique Sinclair and Barry Barker did this nice mural. So these are all, you have E.W. Lawson, Mary Jane Lawson, Theodore Lawson, Minnie Lawson. So were they lawyers, law firm? These are like very, looks like very articulate, intellectual professionals from Palatka. Dr. Benny Massey, Nurse Evelyn McCoy, Dr. Claude Knight, Dr. George Ziegler, Dr. Harold Finley, Nurse Julia White, Dr. Colin Banks, and Nurse Marion Smith. Really nice mural right there. You can see. At the side of this Cattleman restaurant, Cattleman Barbecue, established 1989. Historical St. Mary's Episcopal Church across the street, founded in 1883. Nice little restaurant, nice little design restaurant right over across the street. I'm at the corner of, what is this, North 8th Street and St. John's Avenue. Coming across this mural called Harlem Nights in Palatka. And this is also Nina and Ed Matayunis, a really nice mural, a nice illustration. And Harlem Nights in Palatka. And the Belton Society Syncopators. They're basically a jazz band that was created in the 1920s during the height of the Harlem Renaissance. And it was created by Cortland S. Belton and his brother Wilbert Belton, young black musicians from Palatka. Originally they started off with a 4-piece band, but progressed into a large band that was known throughout the United States and often compared to the famous Duke Ellington and his orchestra. So these cats were pretty successful, very successful actually, very well known from this small town, Palatka. You can see one of them on the piano, one of them on the saxophone. And you got the musical notes right there. You got the folks cutting the rug. And this is, so I'm guessing this particular building, being that this mural is painted on this alongside it, had to have been the Cotton Club. So Harlem Nights in Palatka, C.S. Belton Society Syncopators, painted by Ed and Nina Matayunis in 2014. So really nice mural. So actually, the Belton brothers actually played in a bunch of, you know, the Harlem nightclubs, which is what I figured. We're talking the 1920s. That was a Harlem Renaissance movement. So they performed in popular Harlem venues, and also the Apollo Club, and also clubs ranging from the Maine all the way down to the Key West. So shout out to them Belton brothers, aka the Belton Society Syncopators. You have this abandoned little area right here. It's gated up. I have a firearm range right here. Give out private lessons and all that stuff. Urban farmhouse. Now at the corner of St. John's and 7th Street. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and cross over here. There's something else I want to check out. There's another mural right here. This has to be the most murals in a less than a mile range that I've seen in quite some time. This is another mural done by Terry Smith. It's called High Time in Palatka. It was painted by Terry Smith back in 2009. And you also have this nice, these nice little paintings right here. Farmhouse on St. John's. So these are social media tags. Farmhouse at St. John's at Instagram. Urban Farmhouse St. John's at Facebook. Okay. Some sea creatures painted on the side of this. This is a blue crab. It even says right here, beware the blue crab. Really nice mural. I believe this is a brewing company on the side of. So really nice. Standing across the street from this building right here on St. John's Avenue. This definitely looks like Spanish architecture. I mean, let's keep in mind, Florida at one point in time, for a long period of time, was occupied and controlled by Spain. So, you know, a lot of their architecture reflects that. So this looks like a Spanish building. You could tell by the roof, the window panes. And the slanted arch right there at the bottom over there where the door is. It's called the Spanish Towers. Yeah, so far I'm impressed by Palatka and the way it looks and the way the city's laid out, the murals and everything like that. I want to say this. About almost 2 years ago, when I was doing my string of vlogs in Florida, I was on my way from St. Augustine to Tampa, and I passed through Palatka. And I was thinking to myself, I didn't have any time to actually stop and vlog. I had to get to Tampa, but I was thinking to myself, I was like, next time I come to Florida, I made an oath, a personal oath to myself, that next time I come to Florida, I'm gonna stop in Palatka and do a vlog. So here I am. And this is just a mural. This is a mural again by Nina and Ed Matayunas, and I believe Chris Martin. Let me get Chris Martin in there. Chris Martin played a part in this mural as well. Now this is, I think these are two separate murals. You see, you have right here during the Korean War, you see the B-29 bombers, but you see the 2nd Airborne Rangers, bunch of black soldiers. You can see all black unit. The 2nd Airborne Rangers. They served during the in the Korean War. It's a really nice illustration. Shout out to those soldiers, the 2nd Airborne Rangers. Then you have the illustration of Pearl Harbor, the day that goes down forever in infamy, December 7th, 1941. This is during World War II, or that's what precipitated World War II. Or that was during World War II, I should say. And you have D-Day, June of 1944. And you have Iwo Jima, that took place in Vietnam. That was February 23rd, 1945. And you also have this image right here of some soldiers in combat. And it serves the American flag in the background. Also a Nina and Ed Matayunas art piece. So they had their name a lot over majority of the paintings you see here in the city, which is pretty cool. That's really nice. The FSB Ripcord 101st Airborne, 1970. Operation Giant Slingshot, water cannons on the Vam Kodong River. Nice, nice. So you have the Navy at the bottom right here, the Marine Corps right here, and the Army right there. Remember those who have fallen. The U.S. Marines await deployment in the desert. I know that sweltering heat had to have been tearing them up, you know, wearing them out. And they even have the image or painting of the air raid back in March of 2003. It took place at Saddam Hussein's palace. And this was during the Iraq War, by the way, between 2003 and 2011. This one I forgot to mention was during the Persian Gulf War. Marine Battalion, river crossing northern Iraq. Very neat, very neat. And this was during the Afghanistan War. Them again in the desert, the Dark Horse Battalion, the Sanjan District, combat outposts in Keating. Soldiers of Able Company patrol crumbling, what's that, collets found throughout Afghanistan. Huh, interesting. Shout out to the Mata Unises for another beautiful art piece. Coming up on the county courthouse here pretty soon. That's a sick ride right there. Hope you guys aren't getting bored with these murals. I'm not. I love these murals, but I hope, you know, you guys, like, I hope you guys aren't thinking, man, it's a lot of murals. But this really paints a picture of how this town was. This paints the picture, gives you a visual of the history. Bygone days. This one's called Bygone Days. It's sponsored by the Conley Mural Community or Committee and Art and Lou Gin, 1993. It's like a young boy sitting on top of a barrel. Here goes the horse and carriages, of course. Cool mural, cool mural. Freeman building. And this is the Putnam County Courthouse right here.
It is what it is.
This was dedicated to those who honored memory of the citizens of Putnam County who gave their lives in the Vietnam conflict, erected by the citizens of Putnam County back in Memorial Day 1981. So this is really cool monument right here. Nice that they honor their locals. Again, this is the front of the county courthouse. Another representation of the city. There goes a Confederate statue in front of the courthouse. Flags waving right there. American flag, Florida flag. This is basically a map. The gem of the St. Johns River rediscovered Palatka. They have the Reed's Garden in the northeastern quadrant of the city. We have downtown, which is where we are, St. John's Avenue. Then they have a section of the city called the Hammock. Oh, interesting. So they got a whole, it's like they have a whole other district. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So the riverfront part looks like it's not too far from here. So we're like right around this area. Cool. Here's a side view of Putnam County Courthouse on 4th Street. And right here you have another mural. And this is the Hiawatha Heartline ship. So of course the Native Americans in this region of Florida, I would believe, would be the Timucuas. A lot of the Timucuas existed along the you know, they were inhabited, or they inhabited the St. Johns River. And this mural again, Terry Smith. You see the alligator right here, nice. And you see the I want to say that's a pelican, I'm not sure, or stork, one of the two. It's some type of seabird, I don't know. But this is called Night Passage. And Ocklawaha Riverboat. So that derived from Native American language. So, you know, really nice mural. And this is the Putnam County Courthouse Annex building. I'm gonna continue down St. John's in a minute. Gullet title. Another Terry Smith mural. This is a Pennell Baptist Church. It's called To God Be the Glory. So this is Billy Graham, one of the major Taylor evangelists. And you see a baptism going on right here. But yeah, that's Billy Graham right there. Again, it's called To God Be the Glory. Painted by Terry Smith. You also see Wendy Beeson's name right there, so I believe Wendy Beeson might have played a part in it as well. Basically illustrating Billy Graham's connection to Putnam County. St. Monica Parish Office. And you have right here St. Monica Catholic Church, another historical monument building. And being that the Spanish colonized colonized Florida and everything, it's very common. You'll see a lot of Catholic churches in Florida. And you have God's 10 Commandments right there, really nice. God's 10 Commandments right there, running on inside of the church. This is the South Historic District of Palatka. So we're at the corner of Oak Street and South 4th Street. A lot of historic homes over here. Really cool. This wind is really picking up. Just wanted to come on down South 4th Street, check it out a little bit. I'm getting ready to get back to St. John's Street. More St. John's Avenue. Bear with me, y'all. We getting towards the St. John's River front, so we're getting there. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me. If you made it this far, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button as well. Much appreciated. Appreciate everyone's support. The more of these videos, the more you like the videos, the more this video gets out into the algorithms, and the more content I'll be putting out in the future. So yeah, definitely keep it coming. As you can see it right there. You have Steamboat Willie's. It's like a restaurant right there. Nice little art spot right here. Hometown Comics and Collectibles. Ah, snap. Now this historical building is called the Hotel James. I'm gonna get a wider shot of it. This is the Hotel James. Very historic landmark right here in Palatka. And it's Palatka's historic landmark. Now the Hotel James, aka the James Hotel, was designed by Henry John Cluthko, a nationally known architect of the Prairie School style from Jacksonville, Florida. Mr. Cluthko designed 2 other buildings in Palatka. The recently restored Larimer Art Center and the old City Hall was demolished in the 60s to make way for construction of the Capital City Bank. On the 5th of May 1916, the ground was broken at 300 St. John's Avenue for the new 3-story James Hotel. The project was funded by the president of the Putnam National Bank, Dr. George E. Welch. Cluthko's design had more than a slight resemblance to Frank Lloyd Wright's City National Bank and Park Inn Hotel in Mason City, Iowa, built 7 years earlier. So here's some old images of Hotel James. This is kind of like a postcard looking image right here. And this is an abstract Prairie School terracotta ornament, which was atop brick pilasters. So these decorations were very delicate and very detailed. So that was part of the Prairie School architectural design. So Hotel James is an architectural treasure and historical importance to not just Palatka, but the entire state. And here is the architect himself, Mr. Henry John Cluthko. And for this was a premier choice as far as Palatka's visitors. You know, they would come here and come here and stay at this hotel. So it's a really premier lodging choice. You had famous guests such as Babe Ruth, Pete Rose, Bob Feller, and many others. Now, why Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame, it's unbelievable. But I guess, when you bet on games and do all this type of stuff, I guess that's against the integrity of the league. So the committee didn't want to put him in there, but that's a whole nother discussion. Yeah, I got to go to Cooperstown, New York one day and do a vlog. Go see the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And you have the vision for the future Hotel James. So there were renovations completed, and it basically matched what the appearance looked like in 1916. And there it goes back then, kind of like a futuristic view of what it looks like. So yeah, very historic building right here in Palatka. Also listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So here's a side view of the building. Looks like it was 2 stories, or 3 stories rather. Palatka Daily News. I'm gonna get to that second. Another mural. So Florida, you have the swamps. You have the swamps and the alligators, which are very characteristic of Florida, much like Louisiana. And you can see right here, you see the Native Americans right here, back in 1774. So this was Palatka. It was a different spelling, as you can see. It was an I there instead of where the A is, and it was called Palatka, 1774. And William Bartram And check this out. So you had the Native Americans. You had a couple of them. It looked like one of them with a weapon, one of them with a what looks like a stick or something, and there goes one with the fish. So of course that's how they had to get their food. They had to go out and fish, be resourceful, create their own weapons, create their own tools, everything like that from hand, from scratch. And I believe whoever this is paddling on the boat, it has to have been like a European, an explorer, invader, whatever you want to call them. You know what I'm saying? But it's a really nice painting though. Let me guess. Was William Bartram the painter of this? Because I saw William Bartram's name down there. And I see this quote says, in loving memory of Clint R. Dutch and Elizabeth Snyder Jr., founders of the Conley Snyder Mural Committee, sponsored by William Snyder, Evelyn Snyder, Mr. and Mrs. Donald. I'm not sure what that is. It's faded right there. And they have Marshall Lane. Really nice, really nice. Nice mural. We gotta call Palatka the city of murals. And there goes the Palatka Daily News building right there. Looks like another nice. Is that Spanish architecture? I don't think that's really Spanish. That don't look like Spanish architecture. Let me go across it here real quick. And this is just a mural. This is a mural right here of many of the plants that are native to Florida. You have the drumhead. This was by Kate McDaniel. And you have the narrow leaf pawpaw by Amy Keel. Betty Sutliff and Otha Powell did this one, Sky Blue Lupine. And many more, many more. Mary Radigan, the Sandhill Coneflower, the Blue Star, Linda Carpenter. And these are called the Wildflowers in Putnam County, sponsored by the Conley Mural Committee and the Palatka Art League in 2006. So a bunch of, I guess, local artists put together this mural and painting multiple flowers and plants. Really nice, really nice. And this is the Battle of the Horse Landing, again sponsored by the Conley Snyder Mural Committee, Florida Sons of Confederate Veterans. This is by Betty Salmon Sutcliffe in 07. You can see a butterfly right there, and you can see the trees, the St. John River. You can see some soldiers in battle, one of them holding a Confederate flag. This is the Florida 2nd Cavalry. And here's a steamboat right here called the Columbine. The Milton Light Artillery Company A. So this is the horse company. So yeah, this is during the Civil War, of course. You see the artillery, you see the cannons and stuff like that. Continue down. There's also a bunch of artwork right here. Some artwork on these canvases. There's a lot of artists here in Palatka. This is pretty dope right here. It's a mural of Miss Mary Jane Lawson. Mary Jane Lawson, founder of the Mary Lawson Hospital in Palatka, Florida in 1918. It was the first accredited hospital in Putnam County, serving both and employing both blacks and whites till 1958. Now this image was sponsored by the Amazing Airbrush, sponsored by the Imagine Arts and Shirley Edwards. So really nice painting of Miss Mary Jane Lawson, founder of the first black hospital, first accredited hospital. All Family and Fun by Andrea Parks. So it's like a bunch of creepy little monsters right there. So yeah, really cool, really cool. Shout out to Mary Jane Lawson. So I wonder if the hospital was over in this area, if it was over here in this particular building, or this plaza, or somewhere in this area. The Bingo Palace. Now this right here is the site of the famous hotel, the Putnam House famous hotel, that is. And it occupied this site from 1868 to 1922. And on this site, you have this mural of old school Palatka. Of course, you see the horses and the carriages. You see yeah, it's really colorful. Really colorful. You see the women right here dressed up. You see the men right here suited up. See the water, the fountain, or excuse me, the horse drinking out the water. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So apparently they didn't have to make this horse drink. That horse was thirsty. After all that traveling, I'm pretty sure it would be thirsty. And you have, I'm guessing this was the hotel. It has Putnam written on it, or either that or it was the courthouse. But it might have been it looks like the house hotel right there. And there goes the oranges, the citruses. Those are the crops and that are obviously grown right here in Florida. Florida oranges, citrus plants. And that's I'm guessing that's a slave. It has to be a slave. That has to be a slave right there. LukeTaft.com. So I'm guessing Luke Taft is the mural artist. So shout out to Luke Taft. His name is right there on this clock right here. Okay. Really nice mural. Look at this right here. It's the diner. We're actually right outside the diner right here. Now this is a sculpture of what looks like Elvis Presley. It definitely has to be Elvis. The way he's holding that microphone in his stance, that has to be Elvis. The homie Elvis over here rocking out. Yeah. Check this out. This is Angel's Diner. This is called Angel's Diner. This is actually the oldest diner in the state of Florida. It's been up since 1932. So we talking, what's this, 2026? So we talking 94 years, almost a whole century. So yeah, there you go. Florida's oldest diner. Open since 1932. a subway right there. At the corner of 2nd Street. And I'm pretty sure this looks like a major highway based upon the amount of lanes. And I believe this is the part when I was headed from St. Augustine to Tampa. I think I came through Palatka on this particular road right here. And I think that's what, because I passed over, and that's why I was thinking I wanted to vlog here, because I passed the part where the river was. So we're going to get to that part in just a minute. I'm right here in Palatka's historic North Side district. And where I'm at right now is over here by the Brunson Mulholland house. This is a historic home. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's it right there. That's the house right there. It's a 2-story house, got the side shutters. And this historical marker illustrates the Brunson Mulholland's house's history. Now, the Brunson Mulholland house was constructed for Isaac H. Brunson around 1853, a lawyer and United States congressman from New York. Brunson served as a member of the Committee on Territories in the late 1830s. He proposed the act for Florida statehood after Florida attained statehood in 1845. Brunson was appointed to the U.S. District Court for Florida by President James Polk. He lived in St. Augustine with his wife Sophronia and 2 daughters, Gertrude and Emma. Through a settlement in a land transaction, he acquired 10 acres of land along the St. Johns River in Palatka and began construction of his estate, calling it Sunny Point. This Greek style, revival style mansion was surrounded by groves of orange trees. Brunson prepared and sponsored the charter for the city of Palatka and petitioned for it to become the Putnam County seat. He donated the land both for the Putnam County Courthouse and St. Mark's Episcopal Church. Judge Brunson died in 1855 and was buried on the property, and was customary at that time. His widow lived in the house until 1861, when the outbreak of the Civil War prompted her to return to New York. Wow, that's crazy. So Brunson passed away even before the Civil War took place, and all this chaos down in Florida. His wife had to move. And during the Civil War, Union and Confederate troops separately occupied the house. A friend of Sophronia Brunson, Charlotte Henry, established a school for freed slave children in the house from 1866 to 1868. Henry purchased the property and married Nathaniel P. White in 1873. And in the 1890s, Mary Mulholland, a nurse from Boston, provided care for an ailing Mr. White. She inherited the estate when Charlotte White died in 1904 and subdivided the land. Mulholland employed a housekeeper, Torino Rivero, who lived in Sunny Point with her sister Eldamira. In 1935, Eldamira Rivero inherited the property from Mulholland, which she sold in 1945. The house eventually was divided into apartments. In 1965, the city of Palatka acquired the property with intent to demolish the house. Prompted by the Putnam County Historical Society and concerned citizens, the house was saved. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1972, and in 1975 a grant was obtained to restore the house. The Putnam County Historical Society provided period furnishings, while the city of Palatka owns and maintains the property. So shout out to the Putnam County Historical Society and the local citizens for fighting to maintain this property and keep it and save it from being demolished. So yeah, so Brunson, a judge, I mean, yeah, definitely that type of profession. He was definitely able to afford this mansion on all this land. And again, around orange trees too, and that had to have been really nice. But yeah, that's the mansion right there. That is the mansion. Looks like they're doing some work over there. Not really sure what they're doing. They're doing like renovating, or if they're paving the grounds on the you know, not paving, but you know, doing some groundwork. I see like a little tractor in front of it, so bulldozer type. So they probably just digging up some dirt or something. I'm not sure what they're doing. But this is the Putnam County Historical Society building right here. Putnam Historic Museum, more specifically, Putnam Historic Museum. There's even a sculpture of a bald eagle right there in front of it. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's in front of that palm tree right there. It's actually a couple of them. There's one over here too. It's really nice. So I forgot to mention that this particular part of North Historic District is called Reed's Garden. As you can see, it's one of Palatka's historic neighborhoods. So that's Reed's Garden. So that's all that over there. And on the Reed's Garden ground is, they have a house that was built in 1915, a 2.5-story brick and masonry house, 504 North 2nd, 100 Madison Street. What we just saw was the Brinson Mulholland House, 2-story Greek Revival mansion built in 1855. There's a 1-story bungalow built in 1924, North 2nd Street. And Fort Shannon Putnam Historic Museum, we just passed that, built in 1840, a 1-story Greek Revival. And it was originally located on North 1st Street, and it's the oldest existing structure in Palatka, as you can see. Hopefully you can get it in focus. First served as the officers' quarters at Fort Shannon, a Seminole War military reservation in Palatka. Then you have 208 Madison Street, built between 1884 1897, large 2-story frame vernacular, rumored to be built by Isaac Elwood, the inventor of barbed wire. I'm pretty sure if he can invent barbed wire, he could invent a 2-story frame vernacular style home. But shout out to all those individuals and all those historical buildings and houses that are still standing after all that time. We're talking well over a century, some close to 2 centuries. And I like the way these street signs are designed. You know, you got the iron, the wrought iron, and it has the interesting little text on there. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Like kind of like some cursive type lettering. Farm Credit of Florida. Parish Hall. This is like a church building or something. Looks like a church building. Parish Hall. That's what it's called. Yeah, it's definitely a church. You see the cross right there. This historic building right here is St. Mark's Episcopal Church. It's at the corner of North 2nd Street and North Main Street in the North Historic District of Palatka. Again, this is St. Mark's Episcopal Church. And here's some information on it. Episcopal services in Palatka were first conducted in 1846 by Reverend John F. Young, later Bishop of Florida. The parish was organized in 1853 and the church completed in 1854. During the Civil War, St. Mark's was used as a barracks by federal troops and suffered considerable damage. After the war, the church served as the missionary center of the Episcopal Church in the St. Johns Valley. The original building, though altered, is still in use today. Wow. So, yep, this building's still in use. It's not just standing there, it's actually being used. Part of the Florida Heritage Trail of historic buildings in the state. Keep on walking down this way. A small church right there called Liberty Baptist. At first, based on the design of that building right here on the right, I thought it was a postal service. Thought it was a post office, but it's actually a city building. It's where they do the planning for the city planning, and it also serves as a human resources department building. So maybe it was originally a post office building, and then it was and then when the post office vacated, it was repurposed to be a city building. That's my guess. And there goes City Hall for Palatka. That building also looks like it could have at one point in time been a post office. Kind of has that architectural style of a post office, especially with those 6 Greek columns, or 5 columns. No, 4 columns, excuse me. It's 4 columns. I thought the other 2 at the end, I thought those are columns, but it's really 4 columns. And this is the Putnam County School Board District Office. They actually also have a state park right here in Palatka. It's called Ravine Gardens State Park, which is the next left. If you go down, I guess, 3rd Street, you can access the park. Here's some nice artwork right here in front of what's called the Larimer Art Center. So this also looks like one of those mission revival, kind of like Spanish architectural style buildings, but again, it's called the Larimer Art Center. It's for all those, it's basically for everybody within the community that's into the visual arts. As you can see, this painting is done by Dawn Knight. Looks like a woman with a bunch of different flowers, different blue and magenta flowers. It's really nice. But yeah, North District, right outside of downtown.